Hello, and welcome to our special Transgender Day of Remembrance reflective service. Due to Safeguarding Sunday coming a day before Transgender Day of Remembrance, we wanted to make sure that we gave both subjects equal weighting, both subjects specific focus, if you like. It's so important to us that we are an open, inclusive, welcoming community for all. We keep saying that and we absolutely mean it. We have transgender people who are part of our community, who are beloved members of our community, who we know are beloved by God just as much as everybody else is. There is a lot of pain, a lot of sadness, a lot of challenge, a lot of grief in the transgender community and around with those who love them. Just after the Transgender Day of Remembrance that we marked last year, we had the awful murder of Brianna Gay. The climate generally in this country is awful, and against minorities particularly, and against those who are easily othered, as transgender people often are, because they cannot be defined in binary standards. There is a lot of risk, a lot of danger, and I want to acknowledge that today. So we will be updating the Wall of Remembrance on our website, and we would like to offer this short reflective service as a specific point of focus for our transgender community members, for all those who love them. But I also just want to make the point that if you're wondering why we're doing this, it's not relevant to you, you're not sure how you feel about transgender issues, or you are sure how you feel of them and they do not align with what we are speaking about, it shouldn't take for something to be personal before it becomes something that you care about. It did for me, and that is a shame for me. If we don't care about those outside of our circle of comfort, our circles of reference, we are complicit in their oppression. And we just never know when our own lives are going to take a turn that would bring us into direct contact with issues that we choose not to face. So I would encourage you, all of you, to take a moment with this reflective service and to allow God to speak to you through it, and to consider becoming part of the solution in tempering hate, in modelling grace, rather than part of the awful problems that our society is suffering. That's enough from me. On we go.
God of all creation, your wisdom, your love, and your mystery are boundless. You have many names, which are beyond all gender expression. We give you thanks for the gift of diverse gender identity, expression, and sexuality. We acknowledge the times we deny that gift by holding too tightly to expectations of conformity and norms. We have created these divisions and used them against one another. We know this is not your will or your way. Help us to act mercifully and show grace to all of your people, as you have done for us. O mysterious maker of women, men, all that is in between, outside and none at all, we come before you today with sorrow in our hearts. We remember those who have lost their lives because they did not conform to the gender roles society expects. We lament at the continued suffering, oppression, rejection, and struggle of our siblings of all gender identities. Grant them strength, support, and love to accept and be accepted who they are. We acknowledge the harm prejudice and ignorance has caused, knowingly and unknowingly. Help soften hearts and give wisdom and understanding that in the sight of God all are equally beloved simply because of our existence. Open hearts and minds to embrace and support one another so that all may let their light shine before others by living out their truth. In the name of the one who is beyond all norm. Amen.
In the name of the God who creates, redeems, and inspires. Amen. As we gather together here in this space to mark Transgender Day of Remembrance, we remember all who identify as trans, intersex, and queer, who over the past year have died, those who have died of natural causes, those who have died through the violent hands of others, those who have taken their own lives. We are called to recognise, to celebrate, to grieve, and to rage with and for our siblings as we form communities because of shared experiences of living out our true selves and our true identities before one another and before God. In the Tate collection in Liverpool, there is a statue by Jacob Epstein, carved from a single block of alabaster, which stands around 8 feet tall, weighs nearly 3 tons. It is called Jacob and the Angel. It's a carving which depicts the events of Genesis 32, where Jacob wrestled through the night with an unknown man, often interpreted to be God or an angel of God. Epstein carves this sculpture so that Jacob and his opponent are face to face, both of them the same height, forced to look one another in the eye as they grasp onto one another. The embrace is all-consuming, uncomfortable, and unrelenting. In this encounter in Genesis, Jacob says to his adversary, "I will not let you go until you bless me." Here is Jacob, who will be redeemed and who will become the father of the 12 tribes, refusing to let go until he is blessed. In so many ways, these words and this refusal to relinquish or to surrender until there is a moment of recognition and of blessing echo the stories of many trans and queer people of faith. Though written 2,500 years ago, we as trans people find ourselves saying to the church today in 2023, "We will not let you go until you bless us. We have always been here, and we are still here. We will not let go until you recognise and value gifts, experiences, courage and faithfulness trans people bring in daring to live truths with a whole embodied self." Continual and faithful presence of trans people both within and outside the church, the grappling of any queer person of faith, stands as powerful witness to the fact that their gifts are desperately needed, and that their witness is part of the transformation God calls all of us to be part of. In blessing Jacob, the one who struggles with God, God transforms him. Time and again, God transforms and changes and blesses. God renames, recognises, and remembers. All are called to live out their full humanity as fearfully and wonderfully known children of God. God who created everything, who knows it all with an intimacy and a love that we cannot begin to comprehend. All of us have our own journeys, our own experiences of living an embodied existence, and our own understandings of how we are able, or sometimes unable, to live authentically, bringing all of ourselves. To be openly trans or queer can often mean having to endure some breaking of familial, societal, cultural expectations, sometimes the breaking of friendships or of relationships. But even in these places of brokenness, of deep vulnerability, God is walking alongside us, walking the path of suffering, shame, and hatred many of us face daily, whether in the eyes of the world or in our own self-perceptions. We are in constant and dynamic relationship with God as we come to more fully understand ourselves, and as God reshapes, reforms, and remakes us, the same God who formed and knew us at our creation. The things that are broken are made whole, often in ways we do not expect. The hurts that are endured are not diminished. We still grieve for those lost and broken things, but they can be and are transformed. I would love to imagine a future where the need for a Trans Day of Remembrance doesn't exist, where there is not a list of 400 known and named individuals who have not had chance to live fully and freely as their created, unique and precious selves. We do not yet live in such a world. But in the here and the now, we do what we can to honour those who have gone before. We say their names, we hold them before God, we weep and we rage and we mourn. But we recognise and celebrate the fact that those of us who are still here, and we will remain, and we will continue to refuse to let go until all can let go and are blessed. In the remembering of those who have gone before, we too are remembered and recalled into relationship with one another as beloved children of God, standing as witness to the glorious diversity of creation. In a world which feels so often torn, divided and hate-filled, I pray that you may know that you are wonderfully made, blessed and precious in the sight and the unquenchable love of God. Amen.
Peace, like seeing your true self reflected in a mirror, be with you. Peace, like finding your true self recognized by others, be with you. Peace, like thriving as your true self in society, be with you. And until that peace descends, know hope, love, and grace abounding from God who is all genders and more. Amen.